And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the the evening stream. And I am now here. I was doing some things. I was getting this ready to start, and also I was with the Capri Fleet. And you could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, and I appreciate that. And we'll be talking about some different things regarding the crash, the spaceship. I mean, the crash that happened and things like that. All right, and I'm going to switch it over. I just have to adjust the lighting. Okay, and about to adjust the lighting. All right, whatever. So we're just gonna do this. Okay, all right, that works. So we'll be switching over. All right, here I am. So I had to adjust the lighting for a second, and now it is fixed, the light. And so we'll be talking about some different things regarding the plane crash, the great aliens, and some stuff with some stories and pirates and things like that. So hopefully, everything holds up well and we can get through this. And I'll start with a game while we wait for people to come, and then we will continue onward. All right, so here we go. All right, so now I'm doing is I'm connecting the game. It's about to launch. All right, it looks like the stream's having some problems. It looks like for no reason at all. So that's really nice. I'm glad to see that. So let me know how it goes with the connection or whatever, and let's see how we get through this. Okay. Thank you, Stranded, for that. Thank you. Okay, now the game is loading, and yeah, so we had recently there is a collision between a helicopter and a aircraft, and that wasn't really, that shouldn't be happening. You know, people have to be qualified to do what they have to do. They can't just be crashing into stuff like that. And if this game doesn't load, what I'm going to do is we will just do the other stuff. Go right into it. Okay. And it gets kind of on right now. So basically, I hope that all of you are having a great week and have a good weekend. So basically, there is a plane that crashed into a Black Hawk helicopter. And I think that it shouldn't have happened, especially over in DC. The security and all should be better, and I think that they should do better at managing air traffic control, and whoever did that needs to be let go, and they need to find out why this happened. So over time, we'll see what information comes out, if it was done on purpose, if it was a crazy accident, but that certainly needs to happen less. Definitely a breakdown in communication with air traffic. Absolutely. So, yeah, definitely a breakdown with air traffic control. It's like, are they blind and deaf? Are they just a bunch of moles? So, I think basically, like, at first, there's some conspiracy theories that it could have been done on purpose, like an attack. It could have been a hacking, some said. And allegedly, there is something with another plane that may have hit it with a rocket. I didn't see the whole thing, but allegedly, they're hinting to allegedly. But as I said, we have to see what comes out. and I'm sure the president will release the information as time allows. And I think that the press secretary did excellent explaining the situation, and I think that because I was watching ABL, and it was breaking news at the time, and the rocket, it was a not rocket, the helicopter hit the airplane. It just ran right into it. And, lives were lost. There was some people going on a hunting trip. There is a woman that was a civil rights attorney that graduated from Harvard that was unalived. There were so many lives that were lost. And when I was a kid, I wasn't a big fan of flying. So it's like if you get into although people die in accidents all the time, I saw when I was watching, this stream on New Year's Eve at Smoke and Scan, it was like you had this problem where somebody got in an accident and they were very injured, and one person's head went through the windshield. Maybe they weren't wearing a seatbelt, but it still was totally uncalled for that to happen. And I think that for an accident to occur, people could happen. It happens all the time, but the one in the sky, if you get into a crash into the sky, your chances of survival are not as great. I don't think. The teacher was trying to tell me that crashes in the sky. I mean, the plane crashes don't happen often, but I'm like, did they happen though? But I did get over the fear of flying, and I did fly a few times, and I wouldn't mind doing it again. But as I said, it's like if something doesn't go right, there's a high possibility something bad could happen. By the grace of God, we're all okay. If it's a car travel, if it's a travel with anything else, flying or not, that everybody could stay safe. Amen. But it's you have a problem in the sky, it's not as a favorable situation. So basically, also, I was watching the thing. It just imploded, and I think some people are saying that there is going to be some survivors, and it was also being said that there were no survivors, and they're still looking for them. And in the beginning, like you're going to hear contradicting information, and yeah, it seems that there's no one survived, and some were still trapped in the airplane, and also the helicopter. Stranded said, I don't think it was international or hacking. I think whoever was giving directions to the Black Hawk, they didn't check the approaching commercial flights in the path. Yeah, and that's basic common sense, and people should be qualified to that are qualified should handle these things, and maybe anybody would make a mistake like that, but if they were hiring people that were incompetent or they're hiring people for political agendas, I think that's wrong. But yeah, and it could be a one in a millionth situation where you have an accident like that happen. But I think that it is really uncalled for to have that occur. But thank you, Strand, for giving your insight. And anybody else can give their insight on this matter. Like, why do you think that this occurred? It's like driving. It's like you have to make sure you have people that are doing when you're driving. You got to make sure there's nobody there. Yes, there are some Olympic figure skaters on board, and also ones from Russia, and that's something interesting. It kind of makes you wonder. It's like this is supposed to be. I know on 9/11 people thought this, and I thought I would have thought it if I was a little bit older to comprehend what was going on. But it's like this is the most secure country on earth. I mean, how does something like this happen? Like it's goofy. And DC should be very secure. Why would you be committing? Why would you be doing a practice drill where people are flying airplanes or people trying to land an airplane? You feel me here? Like we got to get with the program. We can't just. It's like you're gonna do an experiment right where people are trying to fly an airplane or trying to land an airplane is more precise. So I think that it's just completely uncalled for. Just completely uncalled for. Could have been completely avoided. You got a little stupid gang of ships that are lurking. Scared. Yeah, and so yeah, rest in peace to the victims, and more and more updates about it were coming out. Just basically on the victims, like what caused it and stuff like that. And as we'll wait as time persists about the what occurs with this case. Okay, you think they're using the same airport, but you don't know. That very well may be, and that sounds very likely. Also, Stranded said, or the commercial plane flight path went over the military base. Yeah, that's possible. Definitely. And I don't know if they're supposed to be doing that. And, some sort of an error or what else could have been going on. And another thing that the president said is that you're going at different latitudes, and they should have been flying at a higher latitude, and they're flying at a lower latitude than they should have been, and they just collided because usually you have different latitudes of aircraft, and they may have been flying perpendicular and adjacent to each other, and that caused the collision, obviously. So another mistake that could have been made was different latitudes. And I will certainly dig into more conspiracy theories about this because it's always interesting to see the conspiracy theories, even if they're not true. I think that with the commercial plane and the Black Hawk, it's like I wonder. It's like I wonder if the Black Hawk is able to tell if something's going to be heading towards it, or like the airplane, if it had any sort of information. I mean, there's the airplane movie from the '80s that I did see a rerun of. I saw that when I was a kid, and they're able to land that plane in that movie, but they can't land a plane in 2025 without having it crash into a helicopter. Like, I don't know if you hear about this in other countries. Like, I don't know if you hear about it in any other country but here. It's quite it's quite funny. But as I said, we got to see the the technicalities to it. And what was exactly being caused. Scared. All right, we're gonna go to Tortuga, and also when we're still talking about this airplane thing, but also I want to mention that there were these. I was watching the trials. There is a lover that she murdered her, allegedly murdered her lover, her husband, and she was cheating on him. Also, there is this other trial where the kid deleted his mother. This other trial, which is kind of like a YS. It's not. I'm not. It's not to be compared to YSL because it's disrespectful, but it's a rapper trial because they're trying to see like somebody pulled a pew pew out on somebody, and the other group is saying that they're just doing it for money. And I think both are true. I think dude was in the wrong, and also there's a money grab here, and the witness is really stupid. And I was making a bunch of jokes about him, like he's the kind of person that uses a measuring stick or measuring tape to see how long he slept. He walks through a drive-through to order his food, and he's like the kind of person that calls you on the phone to tell you he can't talk. That's basically what the witness is like. Hello, Mary. Toodles, good to see you. Sharon said, I know that commercial flights will go over military base if the base is in line with the airport. With the base, the commercial ports coordinate their flights to avoid collision. I know that's what I would have thought, but they certainly were not really paying attention or looking at the situation closely because, something went wrong here. Something absolutely went wrong. And it would be a secured airspace. And why would you be doing it at night, like right by an airport, right where it's going to be landing? It's just so strange. Hello, Sarah. Welcome. I'm glad that you're able to join us. And I did not see that, Sarah. We're going to have to look into that. And thank you for being here, Sarah. In spite of certain difficulties, I'm glad that you're able to make it. Yeah, so also, Sarah, we're going to go check that out and look that up. And yeah, I think basically, yeah, why they're doing a train maneuver at night. Exactly. It's just, like, come on now. It doesn't make any logical sense at all. And no reasons about this. And we'll certainly look up to what you're talking about, Sarah. The one thing in Philly, we'll look that up. And so, Sarah, as you know, I was watching ABL, and then right when we're watching it, a Black Hawk helicopter crashes, collides with the approaching airplane that's trying to arrive. And there's people that were going to a hunting trip. There's people that were trying to. There's a civil rights attorney that went to Harvard that was unfortunately unalived, and there was a other many other countless people that were in this flight, and it's really terrible what happened. It's completely uncalled for. Yeah, we're gonna look up this other crash right now. It's breaking news. I'll repair this ship, and then we'll get into that. Yes, Sarah, while on ABL. Yes. Thank you, Mary. All right, one little more repair, and I'll go look it up now. Yeah, what the flock is going on? Flocka shaka. Alrighty, we're gonna look up this right now. Okay, we are about to be looking up into this breaking news right now. Okay, so we're going to right now we're going to get the window open. Likes, share, subscribe. I'll thank all of you for being here. Alrighty, now we're going to get to the other screen. Shout out to the spaceship cats. I am not sure how the Daily Mail is going to go with the stream level, so everybody brace yourself, but we'll try to look this up. See how it goes. Because they have a lot of ads on their website. It might bring the stream down for a second, and I'll switch over to another website that's better, like without the ad parts. Okay, here we go. Website. Small plane crash in Philadelphia leaves multiple injured as footage shows huge explosion and smoke billowing into the sky. A plane carrying two people has crashed in the residential area of Philadelphia, causing chaotic scenes on the ground. The plane, a Learjet 55, had been traveling to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri after departing the Northeast Philadelphia Airport on Friday evening. After less than a minute in the air, Jet was caught on a doorbell footage, hurtling towards the ground before exploding in a large fireball. You could see it right here. You see it right here. You see, look at that fireball. Alright, I'm changing the title for a second. Okay. Okay, so where is this plane crash at? Philadelphia. Alright, we're going to change this title a little bit. Right, thank you all for being patient. Okay. The title has been changed. Okay. So we're going to be talking about this situation that happened. Alright, so basically, hello there, True Crime. Good to see you. Alright, so basically, we have a new breaking news. Small plane crashes in Philadelphia leaves multiple injured as footage shows huge explosion and smoke billowing in the sky. Shout out to you, True Crime. Good to see you. A plane carrying two people has crashed in a residential area in Philadelphia, causing a chaotic scene on the ground. The plane, a Learjet 55, had been traveling to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri after departing the Northeast Philadelphia Airport on Friday evening. After less than a minute in the air, the jet was caught on doorbell footage, hurtling to the ground before exploding in a large fire. Yes, it is very sad, absolutely. Federal Aviation Administration has confirmed that there had been two people on board the jet. It is unclear if they managed to eject or were able to escape. Police sources told CBS that there were several injuries being reported to them on the ground. All right, Sarah. All right, Stranded. Understood. Emergency services are currently on the scene, battling the flames from the collision. The aircraft appeared to hit several buildings and cars in the area, leaving a trail of destruction at its wake. You can look right there, and you see the fires just spewing out. It's very sad. And we were just having a situation we were just talking about that happened over in DC with a collision between a Black Hawk that's doing a experimental drill at night right in front of a landing strip at an airport, at the Reagan airport, and we have a crash that happens, a collision, and both parties are unalived. And you could see right there in the video the horrid action right there. This terrible bowl of fire that is spewing everywhere, and you can see this is another photo of it right there. And I think that is absolutely very tragic. And what is going on is the world ending. I might have used the word experimental, but I'll reiterate. I want to emphasize what I mean by experimental. So basically, the Black Hawk was doing a drill. So they were doing a drill at night. So when you're doing a drill, or they're doing a practice, I'm using a big word for that. It was like a practice run. They were practicing a Black Hawk at night right in front of a airway where planes land. So that's why I say it's experimental, because it's an experiment that they're doing, you know, because that's what you do when you're training. You're doing an experiment, you're practicing. So that is my point. That, yeah, it's like, why do you have to do that in the middle of the night, right in front of where planes are landing? Come on now. Come on. And then you have that right there. You have that. And viewer discretion advised. Let's see. You have that. Look at that. You see in the video all over. It said fair use, as I said, reacting fair use. And look at that. Look at the fire. Look at all that destruction. That is very horrid. I think that this is like Armageddon going on here. Look at that. Yeah. And viewer discretion is advised. Wow, that is a very tragic crash scene. That really is. You know, rest in peace to the people that were affected by this and whatever property was lost. And then you had the Ring doorbell footage seemingly captured the moment that the plane crashed, showing it accelerating to the ground before exploding. Flight trader data says the plane had reached an altitude of 1,650 feet before reporting a vertical drop 11,000 to 8 FPM. That explained. They don't tell details on news here. So sad. Scared. Hello, Richard Schmidt. I'm glad that you're here with us. Richard Schmidt is my grandpa. And shout out to him. And so everybody, that is him, my grandpa. It's everybody tell him hello. I'm glad he's here with us. All right. So the Ring doorbell footage seemingly captured the moment that the plane crashed, showing it accelerating to the ground before exploding. Flight trader data says the plane had reached an altitude of 1,650 feet before report doing a vertical drop 11,008 FPM. The site also points to the aircraft being registered to a company under the name Medjets. Officials in the city said that the police and fire crews are on the scene, with nearby roads being closed the Philadelphia Office of Emergency and advising locals to stay away from the area. Scared. Governor Josh Shapiro posted on X saying, "I've spoken with Philly mayor and my team. It is communicating with Philly PD and all these different and the Philly Fire Department and Philly OEM of this matter, and quote, we are offering all Commonwealth resources as a respond to the small private plane crash in Northeast Philly. Quote, we'll continue to provide updates as more information is available." Yeah, that is, it looks like hell on earth right there. Wow. Yes, thank you, Sarah. Sarah says, my voice could do professional voiceovers. Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate the compliment. And you have this fireball in the sky. It looks like a demon. That's what it looks like. It certainly does. And then you have that crash scene, very tragic. And then you have, "Hello, Joyce. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here with us." And for those that are just coming in, dropping by, a breaking news is going on right now in Philly. There is another plane crash because we were just talking about the DC crash and about how it's so strange to have a Black Hawk helicopter collide with a commercial airplane that's trying to land. So you have this horrid situation occur where some missing communications happening in DC where you have something like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And why would you be doing a drill, practicing your Black Hawk in the middle of the night, nearly the middle of the night, especially over there in the east? It doesn't make any sense. So now, hello, Matt. Good to see you. And also, basically, now we have in Philly, there's another crash that happened. What's going on? What's going on? Matt, I miss you, and I'm glad that you're here with us. MR, which is Matt. I'm so glad that you're here. I was thinking about you today. And he says, this new crash is only DEI issue. If it was Darius Rucker's plane going to Branson, Missouri. Yeah, hilarious. Oh, yes, I'm sure you have your opinions. And there's a lot of different conspiracy theories going on about this. And people are just completely stunned. And yeah, if there's conspiracy theories I'll talk about, is that you have this situation where people could be either doing, about could have it been done on purpose, could have it been an attack, could have been glitching, hacking, or could have been the DEI being inadequate, or they're hiring people that are doing these jobs that are not qualified, and the dominoes are just falling down. What's going on exactly? It's very crazy, and there's many different theories that I'll be looking into because I think that is very tragic indeed. Now we're gonna watch a little bit more of this. Let's see. All right, and we're gonna have an ad going on. A shout out to the ad that's going on and of the Daily Mail. That's so yeah. Shout out to Daily Mail. I appreciate their coverage. With this, the advertising is going to be advertising, and then yeah, very tragic, very cringe, and it's just thanks for Sarah for telling us what was going on, and ABL had the breaking news, and now I'm in the breaking news situation. All right, here we go. All right, so we have the plane, a tragedy about to unfold, and I'll react to it. That is a big explosion. Wow, that looks like a little missile that dropped, or like a nuclear bomb. Wow, that is crazy. And you see the smoke in the distance, how that just hit the ground, and right in a residential area. And oh, look at that. That's another angle. Wow, I think that is really just, wow, that's horrible. That's horrid. It looks like it was a missile. I mean, if I was there, I might have thought it was a missile or something. Or that we're having a war. Yeah, that person went inside like a cat or a rabbit out of hell, out of heck. Yeah. And Matt says something hilarious. He says, "Looks like your true crime people are here. This is a nice mix with some new folks." Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I collected people from all over YouTube, all over different YouTube live streams, everywhere. And I put them here. And you have people with different political views, you have people with different religious views all in one place. Because that's what I want to do. So shout out to you, all of you here. It's a very unique experiment that I did. And I am glad to have you all with me. And so, yeah, shout out to all of you and all the true crime people. Anyone know, was there not ACT physically watching flights? I will look that up, Sarah. We'll see if we can find anything. Stranded. We will. I'm still reviewing the crash, and we'll get into the bottom of this if they released information. I don't think so, but we have to go and look further. Only two passengers on the private jet. That's why I thought it would be a celebrity. Who else would be going to Branson, Missouri? And also, you have Satan needs to be rebuked. And thank you, Sarah, for the Bible quote. And all right, I'm all caught up with the chat. And if I miss anything, y'all could let me know. All right. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman also said, quote, "I've been in contact with the Philly mayor and awaiting further information on the tragic small plane crash in Northeast Philly. For folks on the air in the area, please follow the guidance of the local officials and police officers. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the crash." And we have breaking news. Breaking news. 6 confirmed on the passenger jet. Wow. Wow. The FAA National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the crash. The NTSB will lead investigation. The crash comes just days after the American Airlines passenger plane collided with an Army helicopter over Washington, D.C. All 67 people in both the helicopter and the plane perished in a horrific collision. Oh my goodness. So prayers for those that have passed away and for the families. This is another view of it. And there's going to be an ad. So we're going to just but yeah, this is really something else. I mean, I can't believe that this is happening. All right. Here we go. Fair use, as I said, and this is the crash that's going on. Are we test tube babies now? Just kidding. That's funny, Joyce. That's funny, Joyce. Yeah, you don't like the little planes. Yeah, 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 absolutely. And Joyce, you're hilarious. Hilarious. And all right, so here we go. Yeah. Oh my goodness. For your discretion. Wow. That looks like a bomb. That certainly looks like a bomb went off or some sort of rocket. Yeah, and you could see that. And all those people driving, it's like, is there a war going on? That's what people are thinking. People are, this is like, look at all those people getting out their vehicles. That is absolutely terrible. Absolutely. And, you know, so that is just, this is right now. This is live, crazy coverage in the spaceship. And we are going to continue to look into this with other articles too. Shout out to the spaceship cats. Hello, Marie. I am so glad to see you here. Marie is my good friend from Creature Feature. She's very smart. She has very good ideas. All right. And also, Marie, in the United States just now, there was a crash that happened. A small plane crashed. All right. So basically, a small plane has crashed over the in Philadelphia. Small plane crashes into Philadelphia neighborhood causing explosion. All right. A small plane crashed into several buildings in northeast Philadelphia, setting homes and vehicles ablaze and reportedly injuring people on the ground. Multiple people were aboard the plane when it crashed on Friday evening, officials said. Emergency crews have rushed to the scene during the evening rush hour and are appe- appealing for the public to stay from the crash site. It is unclear what led to the crash, who was aboard the plane, or if any of them survived. Stranded said reason number 62 trillion why I don't go on a plane. Yeah, well, I had this argument with a teacher when I was in school. Although I have flown and I wouldn't mind doing it again. When I was saying how I did not agree with the flying thing, because like if you're in a car crash you could still die but you're still on like the ground, but if you go into a collision in the sky you're gonna pretty much be sayonara unless by the act of an act of God or an act of karma or the universe or Buddha or Allah or the milkman, whatever people believe in, whatever their beliefs are, something causing a miracle to happen, you will most likely be deleted and obliterated. So yeah, thank you, Stranded. That's why when I was a kid, I wasn't like a big fan of the flying thing. All right, so Marie says, "Ma, thank you. You're embarrassing me." But yeah, shout out to you, Marie. And I only heard about the plane crash, a helicopter or something. All right, so Marie, I'll give you a crash course. So yeah, Matt says that's why that flying cars will never happen. All right, so and I'll go back to the video, Marie, and react to it with you here from the other website. So basically, Marie, in DC on Wednesday night, there's a Black Hawk helicopter that collided with a landing airplane. So there's an airplane trying to land at the airport, but you had this SOB Black Hawk that was doing a flight training and it was about to collide, and it was right in front of a area where airplanes are trying to land at an active scene at the middle of the night. A Black Hawk that's black, that blends in with nighttime, is flying right in the middle of it because it's doing a practice drill. You're in DC, which is supposed to be the most secure place on Earth, and it's the most busiest. Reagan Airport is the most busiest one on the country, maybe in the planet. It's very difficult, but to have it collide like that is just completely uncalled for. They need to be hiring people that are supposed to be doing it, about whoever's the best for the job, just hypothetically. So this really needs to be investigated. There's conspiracy theories that are true, maybe true, maybe not true, about were they hacked, was it an attack, you know was it a false flag. Some people are saying, I'm not too sure about all those theories, but those are just some things that are being thrown out there. But it's very strange that this is occurring, very strange. And also families of the three aircrafts, amen. So that's what happened in DC, Marie. But just now, tonight, Friday night, over here in Philadelphia, a small passenger jet crashed, and it looked like a nuclear missile exploded. And with the wars going on right now, people might think that there's a missile being fired at them. So it's very scary for the people there. So yes, and it crashed in a suburban area where there's people. So it just happened. Breaking news just now, pretty much. It's happening. It just happened. So what's going on here? Why are these plane crashes happening? You got to get people, that are supposed to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Joy says, reports have stated that aircraft control is the one that failed. Okay, so thank you, Joyce, for the news. That reports have stated that the air traffic control is the one that failed. Yeah, we got to get them fired. You're fired. Fired. Scared. Oh, Matt, you were on the same type of plane that crashed earlier today. Well, Matt, prayers that you never have to be unalived in this situation, dude, because it'll be a very dark place without you here. And also, all this is happening. It's like, what's going on here? Sheree, Sheree, I'm so glad. It touches me so much that you're here with us. Also, a very good mod. And also, Joyce told us some more information about it. That the number of casualties, 6 confirmed unalived on the passenger jet. Joyce said they didn't tell the helicopter to turn in time. They are overworked and very tired. Well, what we got to do is we got to give them some spaceship Red Bull. And we have to give them some posters of some pinup posters and whatever gender they're interested in, and we got to have some shifts because it's like you gotta come on now. We got to get with the program. You feel me here? Because it's like, we can't be the United States having all this different information, all this stuff going on, and having something like this happen. This is absolutely just hysterical. This is just horrid and uncalled for. You don't hear about this happening anywhere else but the United States because you got a lot of goofs that are goofing around, and it's like, we're going to hire Joe, Elmo, Schmo, and Emilio because he's from some group, so he has to do the job. No, you got to get people that are qualified, like Martin Luther King said, it's not by their skin color, but by their character. Whoever is right for the job. So hopefully they're not hiring people that were inadequate, but whoever did this needs to be fired. And Sarah says, was there an ACT on the physical watch of the flights? I'll look it up, Sarah. We'll look it up. Thank you for reminding me. All right. Well, Matt, it is bad. It is bad to be unalived. Yeah, you're onto something. You heard direct information. Sarah also says, in people's first video, didn't notice it was a Black Hawk, just a blurry line coming into domestic plane. Now, Sarah, there's a video, a closer up of the video of allegedly some other plane maybe shooting a missile at it, allegedly. And they did not say missile. They were not saying exactly the air traffic control, what was going on. They were basically saying, like, some other plane could have done something to the other plane. Hypothetically, that's a conspiracy theory. I didn't look at the full video or context, but there could have been some other plane doing something nefarious. And Richard is my grandpa. Shout out to him. And only one traffic controller was watching all air traffic after the accident. Well, Richard, that is very scary. From the airplane movie, that was a funny movie, you had a whole team of people in there with a very intelligent bloke that was Robert Stack, if I said his name right, and the actor in the movie that was directing it. But you can't just have one person there. This is the United States. We can't have stuff like that happening. Yeah, it's very scary indeed. Sounds like someone's... And then Sarah said... Yeah, and then Matt said, sounds like someone's into James bondage. Shout out to Matt. That was hilarious. Oh man, I walked into that. And also, that was hilarious. And also, True Crime says, if that's the case, I feel bad for the air traffic controller. Yeah, absolutely. They need to not have them understaffed. Told you, excuses, they are understaffed. I don't know, man. This is America and DC. You're not supposed to be having problems like that. Exactly, Sarah. You should have known better than to engage the Matt. Exactly. And Matt says, I don't think anyone would disagree with spicy peanut posters. I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly, Matt. Exactly. I wouldn't. Even aliens. That's the whole thing from the Bible where they talked about these angels coming to with the Earth women. And I do have a thing for Earth women. Obviously, you could see in the chat. But basically, yeah, exactly. Hey, hilarious, Matt. Shout out to you. Funny jokes. Funny jokes. So, Marie and everybody in chat, with this other article, I'll give you some more context about the crash that recently just happened. The crash happened just blocks from the Roosevelt Mall, a 3-story shopping center in a densely populated part of Pennsylvania City, according to BBC's U.S. partners CBS News. The area where the crash occurred is filled with traced housing and shops. Shout out to Gam. Gam has a very cool channel. Shout out to him. He's very creative, and he makes these very nice of these models, these 3D models. He makes very good art out of them. So shout out to Gam. He's a very cool dude. And this disturbing video of the incident online showing plane coming down quickly and sparking a huge fireball that rocketed into the sky. Alien getting spicy tonight. I got the entire jug of hot sauce that I'm going gulp, gulp, scared. The area where the crash occurred is filled with terraced housing and shops. Disturbing video of the incident online show the plane coming down quickly and sparking a huge fireball that rocketed into the sky. Witness describes shrapnel from the crash damaging cars and strewing burning debris in the street. Gam says, thank you. I will always shout you out for helping me start a channel and being awesome. Thank you, Gam. Thank you. I really appreciate your shout outs. I believe that everybody should be creating content. That's what this platform is all about. And I think everybody has something interesting, even if it's already been done, to add. Because everybody is like a different fingerprint. Everybody has their own perspective and different angles. That's why I believe in teamwork is very important. Like in the trial chat room, it's a team of people working together. And that's why I appreciate that, Gam, and I'm glad that you took action and did that. That is true, Matt. I am the head of the Tabasco Lotation. Yes, exactly. During the video, the incident online show the plane coming down quickly and sparking a huge fireball that rocketed into the sky. Witnesses describes shrapnel from the crash damaging cars and strewing burning debris in the streets. The plane, a Learjet 55, took off from the Northeast Philadelphia airport about 1830 military time, which was local time, and crashed less than 4 miles away, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. Now, Matt, I'm an alien, and there's a order of aliens that has that same name. That's what I thought it was. But I see that he is saying the Tabasco alienation. That is true. I'm ahead of that also. But there's also a group of aliens that have that and put together. So there's two things to that. So I understand the joke, and also the other side of the coin is that there's aliens, an alien group with that name as well. Yeah, so Richard Schmidt is my grandpa. Shout out to him. And he's the one that I get my German name from. And because that side, I have his one of his and a few of his ancestors are from Germany, so shout out to him. His his wife, my grandma, named me Hansel. Very great name. And yeah, so yeah, shout out to him. And the FAA said in the statement that the flight was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. The FAA, National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB are investigating. Thank you, True Crime. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, Joyce, I will certainly watch you. I will watch you. It's going to be called Grandma Gets Lit. Exactly. So, True Crime, thank you for coming. Have a great weekend. Yes. Plane crashes are so hot right now, Hansel. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to you and Coach Sean that used to tell me that also. Weather forecasts in the area show it's been a cloudy and rainy evening with winds measured around 10 to 20 miles per hour. One witness told the local media that the explosion lit up the whole sky. Yes, Joyce. It's all good. Joyce, you need to behave yourself. Yes. And on witness told the local media that the explosion lit up the whole sky. Quote, I just saw a plane basically hit the building and it exploded. The sky lit up and I pulled over. Basically, it was just real bad here. The witnesses told, describing the crash as feeling like an earthquake. Ryan Tyan, 23, told the Philadelphia Inquirer, said he was getting dinner when he saw a massive fireball that turned the sky orange. Quote, I thought we were getting attacked by something, he said. As he saw people start to flee, he decided to get out of there. Yeah, definitely. It's like, you're just doing, enjoying your time and you're existing, and you see this plane come down. It's like you're going to be bolting out like a lightning bolt, like a spaceship on steroids. Like a spaceship that has tons of Tabasco sauce being pumped into it from Matt himself. Ears on while helping with groceries. I know what you mean with groceries. I know what you mean. And the Pennsylvania governor, Joseph Shapiro, wrote on X, also was called Twitter, that he's in touch with local authorities and is offering all Commonwealth resources as they respond to the small private plane crash. The plane crash comes just days after a much larger collision happened between a commercial jet and a military helicopter in Washington, D.C., where officials suspected 67 people aboard both aircraft were unalived. All right, all right. Marie says, we got planes flying over our house so deep, sometimes I think they're going to crash into the house. It's like if the plane does that, it will scare everyone, even the spouse. Everyone is very suspicious what's going on in the country right now, even the small mouse. And when the plane crashes, even the plane says, ouch. What are you doing, Goobermans, causing all this corruption? All of the people are broke doing air traffic control. You need to go creak up your pouch and pull out some cash, not giving it overseas, but giving over to the American people. A lot of the people are sheeple, but over here, we're talking facts from legitimate sources, and we reap what we sow, and we do not take nonsense from people that think like Elmo. You're welcome, Matt. All right. I like pleasure spiked with pain, music in my aeroplane. Going to go and drop it hard in a ball of flames. Musical genius, Kurt Cobain. And hello, Delight. Good to see you. And also, well, good to see you. Welcome. Another friend from I know Delight from with her. It's a phenomenon. And hopefully we don't get too political in here because we're focusing on the crash that's going on. But it's it could have been a joke or something. But you guys should just be aware that we're going to focus on the crash. But as I said, it's okay to say opinions also. And Delight says, "Hello, Delight." And Delight, I know her from so many streams. Okay, I met her originally at the Queen's funeral stream. I saw her later at over. She goes to my stream. I saw her at the Smoke and Scan stream, and then I see her over at the Creature Feature. And yeah, so shout out to Delight and Delight. Whoever fault this is, you know, they need to be held accountable. Whoever it was needs to be held accountable. And Gam says, I blame this plane crash on aliens parking his spaceship over Philly and not warning anyone. Yes, Gam. Yes, it is. It is. That is partially true because it's like all my alien orbs that have been flying around, they have not been listening. And there's been certain persistence that's going on. And I think that I need to really get hard on those other aliens because there's going to be a resistance against us because, I'll be parking the alien craft in different places causing problems. Yes, and also forgot to mention I made a video. I did these little short films, which I released the trailer for the Creeping Clowns film, little short film that I made. I released the trailer for it if y'all were interested. It's out there now. But I did one about in the Vietnam War. So, like a soldier going through Vietnam, because my jungle is very dense. If I put, even with my verses I drop, I put them in suspense. So, she commented on the Vietnam film. She thought it was so cool. And I was glad to see her there a couple of years ago, and she's been here ever since. And I'm glad that she's with us. And Marie says you get a ticket for parking your alien spaceship in the wrong parking space. Marie, I get a whole booklet. I get a whole binder of tickets. And I have to get all the politicians bought up to say aliens don't exist so I don't have to appear in court 10,000 times a day. Because that would not be okay. Olay. All right. So, another overview about this plane crash. And also, I'm going to show you all the video again. See how this goes. All right, so we're reacting to this again. All right, fair use, as I said, and you have an ad going on here, but people are going to see it. Yeah, and you see, and if it drops, it'll be okay. Okay, so. That is true, Matt. I have binders full of women. That is true. That is true. All right, so fair use, everybody. So you have an ad going on. This, as I said, at one time ABO was reacting to something like this, and yeah, he was saying about the ads. All right, so here we go. Here we go. There's the plane, and that's the explosion. That looks like Russia dropped an ICBM on us. Well, it would be much worse than that, but it looks like something, a missile hit us. Yeah, that's really crazy. That's really crazy. And anything wrong with Philly, assuming it's Nicolas Cage trying to steal the Declaration of Independence. Good one. All right, so that's one. It's really crazy. Wow. And also, look at this. Look at the fire. This is the destruction that led. Look at that destruction. So that's where the plane crashed. Really horrid. Really horrid. Absolutely. And then we're looking at it, and that's where it just that could just drop on anybody. I mean, what's going on? That is a really terrible crash. And yeah, so basically you have that right there, and that's a smoke coming from a distance, and I think that it's a very good angle. And here, this is another picture of it. And also, Gam says, looked like my bathroom late at night on Taco Tuesday. Hilarious. Hilarious. All right. Yes, I am tired of ads. Amen. Yes, hopefully you come back. Hopefully you come back. Absolutely. All right, so these are some images. Thank you, Delight. I am using Chrome. Thank you for that. I'll go look that up. Thank you. And this is another angle of the destruction. All right. All right, look at that. That's right from the ground. That is just horrid. That's terrible. Look, it looks like the Terminator, some apocalyptic movie. That's what it looks like for certain. Wow. Wow, that's a lot of debris, and all those people are in there. That is just really sad. It's really sad. All right. So, and that is the jet. Or let's say the jet was being operated by Jet Rescue Ambulance, and according to statement, right. So you have that right there. All right, and this is another aerial view of the crash that happened. All right, it's gonna come back up. There's a lot of ads in the website, and that's what's causing it to go down. Okay, let's see if we can get this through, and then we'll go over to the other stuff. All right, so that's an aerial view of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, that's exactly what's going on. Yeah. All right. So you have that. You know, that's the aerial, the bird's eye view of it. It looks like terrible, like a, something went off. Right. All right. So basically, we're gonna get some more images of it. All right, so we should be getting out the woods of the ads. I got off that site. Let's see if it'll recover itself. So basically, all right, so that is another image of it that happened. And also, she says, Marie says, I wouldn't be surprised if ads made the plane crash. I agree. I agree. Definitely. And all right, we're coming back. We're coming back, everybody. All right. So yeah, Marie says I wouldn't be surprised if the ads made the plane crash. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is true too. And Delight, I'll certainly get that extension. All right. So it looks like so we talked about that. I talked about this crash. I talked about the DC crash. Okay. Delight says she would prefer to travel by boat or train. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't blame you. I thought they're telling me when I was a kid I was dumb for thinking that, but hey, I wasn't that. I wasn't wrong. All right, so let's see. Let's see. I'm going to try to go to a trial news really quick. I don't know how well it's going to hold up, but I will also be talking about the gray aliens as well. So that wouldn't cause a problem because that site doesn't have any ads on it. All right. So let's see how this goes. Former CBI scientist accused of widespread mishandling of DNA evidence charged with 102 felonies. The charges come from after a Colorado Bureau of Investigation probe found that Missy Yovan Missy Woods manipulated evidence in hundreds of cases, jeopardizing convictions. A former forensic scientist who worked on some of the state's most high profile cases throughout her de- decades long career with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations was charged this week with 102 felonies on allegations she mishandled the DNA testing court records. Record show. Yvonne Missy Woods, 64, faces 52 counts of forgery of a government issued document, 48 counts of attempting to influence a public servant, as well as one count of as each carrying out cybercrimes and perjury according to court records. Yes, you need to get your popcorn for this, absolutely. You're curious. All right. So we're going to do, I'm doing another overview of it. So, yeah, you heard me right. We're going to continue doing this. Give you another overview. A former forensic scientist who worked on some of the state's most high profile cases throughout her decades long career with Colorado Bureau of Investigation was charged this week with 102 felonies on allegations she mishandled DNA testing. Court records show Yovine Missy Woods, 64, faces 52 counts of forgery of government issued documents, 48 counts of attempting to influence a public servant, as well as one count of each carrying out cyber crimes and perjury according to court records. Marie, this has to do with what my friend Rebel showed me last night. This is a court case. I do trial news because I'm in a group of people that watch trials, and so that's what I'm also covering right here. So I'm covering another story. We covered the airplanes. Now we're covering something with the trials. She turned herself into the Jefferson County Jail Tuesday. A spokesperson for the county sheriff's office said she is being held on 50,000 bond, online jail record show. Speak of the devil. There he is. If he had any perfect timing, it would be impossible. There he is. Rebel is the one that showed me this. He's the one that told me about this. Scared. Chad is haunted. Scared. Yes. I don't know what the pronunciation is, so did my educated. Yes. Does that mean she worked on John Bennett Ramsey case? She probably did. She cost them 11 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot. Ask for a rebel and you'll get a yell. Hi, rebel. Yeah, shout the rebel. She turned herself into the Jefferson County Jail Tuesday. A spokesperson for the county sheriff's office She turned herself into the Jefferson County Jail Tuesday. A spokesperson for the county sheriff's office said she is being held on a $50,000 bond, online Joe record show. Oh wow, the courts are going crazy over this. Yep. Wood's attorney did not immediately return the request for comment. The charges are tied to 58 separate instances of alleged criminal misconduct committed between 2008 and 2023, during which she worked at two laboratory locations in Jefferson County. Spokesperson with the first judicial district attorney's office said Wednesday. Rebels says several cases have been impacted by the situation already. A murderer got a retrial and lower sentence. Yeah, absolutely cringe. Absolutely cringe. Yeah, I mean, where is Wolverines and Anthony McQuaid? Maybe I have them locked in my basement. I don't know. Uh, but I certainly would like them to come out and tell us in chat. I might let them out for you. Among those were scared. Among those were more than 30 sexual assault cases in which Woods allegedly deleted specific values and samples and submitted reports to reference agencies that reflected no male DNA found, when in fact small amounts of male DNA were present, or possible contamination was present, and additional troubleshooting and re-resting was required. The the office said. Rebels said, I've been on this newest plane crash. Six said it was a pediatric transport plane. Yeah, and Rebel, we just talked about that, and I reacted to the video about it earlier. And thank you, Rebel, for more clarification. Joyce says, oh wow, that is just wrong. 30 denial assault cases. Rebel says, Alien, I have the arrest affidavit if you want to read it later. I'll send it to you. It's pretty long. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet. Rebel, please send it to me. I will enjoy it. Please send it to me. Thank you. Thank you, sir. PD Arctic. All right. Like I was saying earlier, I got the special spaceship helmet on today. It's PD Arctic. Say it with me. PD Arctic. All right. Oh man, this sucks. Tampering with evidence. I know, Marie. That's really disgraceful. It's really horrid. The criminal investigation into Woods began November 2023 by South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation at the request of CBI. South Dakota investigators then turned their findings over to the district attorney's office in December. The investigation showed instances where Woods altered and deleted qualification values, reran entire batches of DNA, and deleted qualification values. I'm going to say that again, but Joyce, we'll put the he'll send it to me, and I'll put the link in chat. He could put the link in chat if he wants, or if he wants to send it to me directly. That's fine. But however he wants to do it, you'll get the link, Joyce. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Pediatrics means children. Oh, yeah. That word PD, I would think that's a syllable of children. So yeah, absolutely. That's very, very sad. Hilarious game. The investigation showed instances where Woods altered the deleted qualification values, reran the entire batches of DNA multiple times without any documentation, and concealed possible contamination. The district attorney's office said 24 law enforcement agencies around the state received fraudulent reports by Woods, the district attorney's office said. In an interview with the investigators, Woods said the discrepancies in the work were partially the result of haste. Quote, it was a rush batch. I was trying to get data out, and that's how it happened. Woods said, according to arrest affidavit, she said she didn't have a good reason as to why she manipulated the data. Later in the interview, she told investigators, quote, I don't sleep at all at night. Every night I dream, but I don't dream about stuff that I didn't do stuff on. It's almost like, oh, I made that go away, and therefore it just went away. Quote, I got to put out 7 cases that day instead of 5. I don't know, she added. I'm scared. And all this information, Delight, I will absolutely not let anyone take your seat. Understood. Thank you for being here with us. All right, so I'll say, as I said, this is all from legitimate sources. All these articles from legitimate sources. I'm not pulling something out of a hat. We all get our things from legitimate journalists and sources that are completely verified to do what they're supposed to do. And they have all these links that I can provide for anybody that wants them. And I'll even put this link in the chat about this article for anybody that wants to check it out. You got to have good sources. You can't just have Elmo and Emilio give sources. Rebel, you could put it in the chat. The link in the chat if you want. Or any other way y'all want to do it. Now, if there's social media, like Instagram, Rebel does have Instagram. If, that's how I talk to him. However people want to do it. Joyce says, I am going to head out, y'all. Hope everyone has a good night. You are doing great, Alien. Keep on the good work. My son, Glenn, says hello to you as well. Shout out to your son, Glenn. Hello to him. Thank you. But, Joyce, I will give you the affidavit information. I will. From Rebel. Thank you, Rebel, for being on the ball about this and giving me this information. You're doing great. All the mods are doing excellent, and all the people that are viewing are doing great. Everybody, this has been very fantastic so far. Very good teamwork. All right, so, Rebel, that's Joyce's email that you could send it to her at. All right. And good night to you, Joyce. All right, so this is the woman that did this. Scared. Scared. All right. So thank you for hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, everything. I appreciate it. All right. So we covered this information. Now I'm going to go into the other part. So shout out to the spaceship cats. And now we're going to talk about the Greys, the Grey aliens. The Alien Spaceship Channel, this is what we're about. Marie says jail doesn't become her. All right, so there's dispute about these gray aliens, and we're about to just do a breakdown about what they're about. And I'll be doing videos and stuff about the gray aliens that are be coming out, but we're going to be talking about this for now. And people may have different opinions about aliens or if they're real or not, but we're the Alien Spaceship Channel, so I'm glad to continue on the alien spaceship stuff. So here we go. So this was read last night, but it's being read again now for the people that are here. Here we go. Thank you, Rebel, for sending the information. I'll look at it in a moment. All right, here we go. Now, before I get into the alien stuff, let's see. All right. All right, that's good. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rebel. Yeah. So yeah, this is about the great aliens, and 35. Okay. So let's see about. That's good. Okay. I have the affidavit right here. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be continuing. I'll probably put it up for them to see. Okay. Okay. So we'll read through this. Read through this. So I have it on the phone, so I will certainly go through that. So as I said, we'll look through it. We're gonna do the aliens for right now, and then we'll go into that a little bit. Okay. Marie said, there's this really old video of the aliens that crashed. Was it Roswell, Area 51? Do you think it's authentic? Marie, I think there's a lot of hoaxes, but I think what you're talking about is the Area 51 footage of Skinny Bob. Let's see if this refreshes your memory. So this is the video in question, I think, and this old video of Skinny Bob. He was this alien that was captured in this old footage that was allegedly a gray alien that was captured. And oh, okay, Rebel understood. I think that one's real, the one I'm showing, but as I said, maybe it's been debunked, maybe it's not. But I think that this one is real. But it could go really because you see with this one, it blinks. See, this is the thing about this one. It blinks. Let's see if I can get it up. I watched the Y Files. It's not a video. I have to go to this one. This might not be the one Rebel's talking about, but because there's a lot of that were debunked. All right. So fair use. So basically, you have. All right. So this is the Skinny Bob thing, right here. It's very, strange. See, it kind of blinks. Right there, and I think it's very fascinating. It certainly, it could be somebody in a suit, but it could be a possible sighting of it. And see, it's blinking. It's like, how would they be able to do that with the blinking right there? So yeah, that's one of the videos. I don't know if that's the one Rebel was referring to, but that's one of the videos that I saw. So Rebel wasn't talking about the thing that I was showing. He was talking about something else, but that was some other video that I saw. That was like, it's like the thing's blinking and it's moving around. That looks very authentic. The stream's kind of dipping a little bit, so y'all just it's gonna be some turbulence. Bubbles is somewhere right now, but he's all right. All right. Now I'm gonna read to you all about the gray aliens. Yeah, the autopsy one was debunked. I did that. So that okay, make it clear the video that I just showed was not the video Rebel is talking about. That was likely a real gray alien video. Yeah, the one about the autopsy, I covered it yesterday, last night for the late night people, and it was debunked. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to give you a brief crash course on the gray aliens. Gray aliens, also referred to as Zeta Reticuli, Roswell or gray alien, or the Greys or Greys, Roswell Greys or Greys, are purported extraterrestrial beings. They are frequent subjects, close encounters, and alien abduction claims. The details of such claims vary widely. They said Greys are typically described as being human like with small bodies, smooth gray colored skin, enlarged hairlines, hairless heads, and large black eyes. The Barney and Betty Hill abduction claim, which purportedly took place in New Hampshire in 1961, popularized the gray aliens. The precursor figures have been described in science fiction, and similar descriptions appeared in later according to the 1947 Roswell incident and early accounts of the 1948 Aztec UFO incident. The gray alien has emerged as an archetypical image of an intelligent non human creature, an extraterrestrial life in general, as well as an iconic trope of popular culture in the age of space exploration. I read this yesterday, and as I said, I believe the Greys are real. I'm not saying every single sighting is real, but yes, I believe that it's a real thing. Appearance: Greys are typically depicted as gray skinned, diminutive humanoid beings that possess re- reduced forms of complexity, lack external human body parts such as noses, ears, or sex organs. Their bodies are usually depicted as being elongated, having a small chest, and lacking in muscular definition and visible skeletal structure. Their legs are depicted as being shorter and jointed, different from humans, with limbs proportionately different from a human. Greys are depicted as having unusually large heads in proportion to their bodies, with no hair on the body and no noticeable outer ears or noses, sometimes with small openings or orificers. The ears, nostrils, and mouth. In drawings, greys are almost always shown with very large obtuse black eyes without eye whites. They are frequently described as shorter than the average adult human. Association with Zeta Reticuli. The association between the gray aliens and Zeta Reticuli originated with the interpretation of a map drawn by Betty Hill by a school teacher named Major Fish sometime in 1969. Betty Hill, under hypnosis, had claimed to have been shown a map that displayed the aliens' home system and nearby stars. Eyes like a bug, correct. Open upon learning of this, Fish attempted to create a model from a drawing produced by Hill, eventually determining that the stars marked at the aliens' home were Zeta Reticuli. In 1893, H.G. Wells presented a description of humanity's future appearance in the article The Man of the Year Million, describing humans as having no mouths, noses, or hair with large heads. In 1895, Wells also depicted Eloi, the successor species of humanity, in similar terms in a novel Time Machine. Just makes you wonder, aren't female aliens allowed to travel through space, or how do they procreate? Well, under my rule of the galaxy, I greatly relaxed any thing against the females, and that they both have the opportunity they need to do what they have to do. And also with the procreation, it is much more of a out of this world of your imagination. It's like being on a psychedelic trip of how the great female aliens procreate. Yes, Sarah, they're like the angels, neither male or female. Now the angels, some of the now we're going to go into this, that the angelic beings, according to the Abrahamic religions, that rebelled and they went with the earth women. Yes, they're something different than what we are. Absolutely. And what I'm about to talk about is something very interesting about the great alien conspiracy theory. And you'll be seeing in this article arguments for and against the existence of the great aliens, by the way. And it's up to you, the people, to make your decision about what you think. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Which would a different procreation? Yes. Yep, the ones left their original bodies. Yes, correct. Mary says hi again. Herding cats on a spaceship, not easy. Yeah, he really covers it in depth. Yeah. As early as 1917, the occultist Aleister Crowley, and he was an occultist that's associated with a lot of conspiracy theories with the satanic occult. So there's people that are into spirituality that are good and that believe in what's called white magic, that is not evil. But there's also people that believe in a dark evil, like satanic stuff. So Aleister Crowley, I'm not going to go into him. It'll be very offensive about some very evil things he did. I'm not getting into it. But yeah. So yeah, shout out to you, Mary Toodles. Thank you. Marie said, reminds me of the day the Earth stood still. They had to cut out Keanu Reeves out of the fleshy spacesuit too. That is true, Mary. Absolutely. Oh, look, we got Bina in here. All right, so welcome, Bina. And Bina, I want to let you know that what happened was this. So there's a crash, a plane crash in Philly, and it's very strange that that happened. Yeah, they'll open a can, they'll come running. So that's what happened, and I covered it, Bina, and I reacted to it. I reacted to the videos, and now we're breaking down information about the gray aliens. Yeah, shout out to Bina. Yeah, you saw that too. You saw that too. Okay. Now I'll be continuing with the shout out to Beans. More Germans. I did not see that coming. Yeah, yeah. There you go, Matt. We're all here. We're living in America, as the famous song goes from Ramstein. All right, so now I'll be breaking down some more information about the Great Alien Conspiracy. And as early as 1917, the occultist Aleister Crowley described a meeting with a preternatural entity named Lam. And in meditation, so there's this different type of meditation you could do from like Hinduism, Buddhism, and there's different chakras. And with the different chakras, Lam is the orange chakra. So that's interesting. It's named Lam. So Aleister Crowley described meeting with a preternatural entity named Lam that was similar in appearance to modern Greys. Crowley believed he had contact with an entity, though through a process that he called Amalan Traha workings, which he thought allowed humans to contact beings from outer space and across dimensions. Other occultists and UFOologists, many of whom have retroactivity linked Lam to Greys encounters, have since described their own visitations from him, with one describing the being as cold, computer like, and intelligence, and utterly beyond human comprehension. My code name to my best friend Douglas, who I talked about aliens with when I was growing up, that I told you all about, he always told me that the gray aliens were very like computers, and they're very dark and like cold things. It's like a robot. It's like a robot, like AI or some sort of a robot, and they don't have the same emotions that most humans have. Not even they're less emotional than a socio or a psychopath. They're just like a machine. So just to reiterate this, UFOologists, many of whom have retroactively linked Lam to later Gray encounters, have since described their own visitations from him. So Sarah, other people have described visitations. They contacted Lam, the Gray alien, and he appeared to them, just as Aleister Crowley did, and he also did it as well. And because they will visit, these beings will visit you. I have my opinions about them, but they will visit. And Lam later, a Gray encounter, have since described their own visitations, describing the being. This is how the being is described: as being cold, computer-like intelligence. The Gray aliens are very, very smart. I'm part Gray alien. That's where I get my intelligence from, and many of you, all of you here, are also related to them as well. Silence of the Lams. And utterly beyond human comprehension. As I told you, it's not even a psychopath or a sociopath. It's not Albert Einstein, peace be upon him, and all the other brilliant people like Stephen Hawking's or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, very intelligent people. This thing is beyond human comprehension. In 1933, Swedish novelist Gustav Sadergren, using the pen name Gabriel Linde, published a science fiction novel called Den Okada Faran, The Unknown Danger, in which he describes a race of extraterrestrials who wore clothes made of soft gray fabric, who wore shorts with big bald heads and a large, dark, gleaming eyes. The novel aimed at young readers, including illustrations of the imagined aliens. This description would become the template upon which a popular image of gray aliens is based off of. All right, so we have this footnote. The creatures did not resemble any race of humans. They were shorter than, shout out to Sarah, the average Japanese. So they're shorter than the Japanese people. And their heads were big and bold, with strong, square foreheads and very small noses and mouths and weak chins. What was most extraordinary about them were the eyes, large, dark, gleaming with a sharp gaze. They wore clothes made of soft gray fabric, and their limbs seemed to be similar to those of humans. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Sarah. Hello, Tony. Good to see you. So, Tony, I was just describing the gray aliens. Just give you a recap what we're doing and all those that may be just coming in. A recap about this is that we had this situation where the there's a plane crash in Philadelphia, and what's very strange to see this stuff going on. And another thing that we were doing was we were now talking. We talked about a trial where this woman that was messing with DNA, and she's on trial right now, and she's costed trillions of dollars for the mistake she made, or she may be done on purpose. And we're talking about the gray aliens, and there's this one gray alien, and Aleister Crowley summoned it, and correct, Tony. And his name is Lam, that was summoned by Aleister Crowley, and other people have summoned this gray alien, and he's cold computer-like intelligence, and he's very stoic, and he's like out of this world beyond human comprehension. And we're just talking about the conspiracies about gray aliens, and that's what we were talking about. And also, they're shorter than the average Japanese person. Barney and Betty Hill abduction. The conception remained a niche one until 1965, when newspaper reports of the Betty and Barney Hill abduction made the archetype famous. The alleged abductees, Betty and Barney Hill, claimed that 1961 humanoid alien beings with grayish skin had abducted them to a flying saucer. You remember Alistair too in these stories. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for your insight. In his 1990 article, no, entirely unpredisposed, Martin Cotmier suggested that Barney's memories revealed under hypnosis might have been influenced by an episode of the science fiction television show The Outer Limits, titled The Belrio Shield, which was broadcast 12 days before Barney's first hypnotic season. The episode featured an extraterrestrial with large eyes who says, "In all the universes, in the unities beyond the universe, all who have eyes have eyes that speak." The report from the regression featured a scenario that was, in some retrospects, similar to the television show, and parts of Kotmere wrote. Wraparound eyes are an extremely rarity in science fiction films. I know of one instance that they appeared on the alien of the episode of an old TV series, The Outer Limits, entitled "The Belrio Shield." A person familiar with Barney's sketch in the interrupted journey in the sketch drone collaboration with the artist David Baker will find a frisson of deja vu creeping up on his spine when seeing the episode. The resemblance is much abated by any absence of ears and hair and nose on both aliens. Could that be chance? Consider this to Barney's first description and drew the wraparound eyes during the hypnosis season. Dated 22 February 1964, the Belleru Shield was the first broadcast on 10 identification, as admitted the commonness of wraparound eyes in the abduction literature and culture forces. Yeah, that was very cool, Gam. That was a very cool thing that you made. Moonshine and good television is a receipt for selling aliens. For seeing aliens. Hey, there you go, Matt. There you go. And Matt, I'll be serious here. When you take the drugs or you take drinking, when you do drinking, you your mind is more receptible from seeing things from other dimensions that are really there that you can't really see with the regular eye. But yeah, I understand what you mean, though. I understand what you mean. Carl Sagan echoed Kotmeier's suspicion in the 1997 book The Demon Hunted World Science as Candle in the Dark, where invaders from Mars were cited another potential inspiration. Oh, I love Twilight Zone and Outer Limits also. And Tony, I love the Twilight Zone also. I watch it all the time, and it's one of my favorite programs. It's a favorite, and I watch it too. That is why, Matt. That exactly. They see the pink elephants because it's from the other dimensions. You bought it many years ago and not expensive either. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and also continuing with the alien research going on. Diffusion into folklore. After Hills encountered Greys would go on to become an integral part of UFOlogy and the extraterrestrial related folklore. This is particularly true in the case of the United States, according to journalist C.D.B. Bryan. 73% of the reported alien encounters in the United States describe gray aliens, a significantly higher proportion than other countries. During the early 1980s, Greys were linked to alleged crash landings of a flying saucer in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. A number of publications contain statements from individuals who claim to have seen the U.S. military handling a number of unusually purported bald child sized beings. These individuals claimed during and after the incident that the beings have oversized heads and slanted eyes, but scant others distinguishable facial features. So the type of aliens that were in the Roswell crash were basically the same type of aliens that are the gray aliens allegedly. And I think that it's very cool to clarify exactly which aliens were were being seen. In 1987, novelist Whitney Strieber posted the book Communion, which, unlike his previous works, was categorized as nonfiction, and which describes the number of close encounters he alleges to have experienced with Greys and other extraterrestrial beings. The book became a New York Times bestseller. The New York Cinema released 1989 adaptation of the star of the Christopher Walken Stryber. Oh, I love the Night Gallery. Yeah, shout out to Sheree. Yes, I love the night gallery. Alien, can you after check the Cape Grudier, maybe with the UFO occupant crash, think was before Roswell? I will check it right now. The works are categorized as nonfiction and which describe the number of close encounters he alleged to have experienced with Greys other than extraterrestrial beings. The book became New York Times bestseller. New York Line Cinema released a 1989 film adaptation, Christopher Walken and Schreiber. All right, now we're going to look this up. The Tales of the Crypt are very good too. We're going to take a little detour into what Sarah requested. Because we talked about the aliens, the Greys. Now we're going to talk about this for a moment. With the make sure we get this in before the stream ends later. So I'm talking about this now, just in case we have a stream whenever the stream ends. Before Roswell Cape Gare Edu UFO of 1941. It was around Independence Day in 1947 when the world grew skeptical the Earth was the only planet to host living beings in the universe. Sarah said my grandmother spoke of the crash and she knew the preacher who spoke it at the ill funeral they had. Sorry, not on the PC, where I have more info. Okay. Shout out to the derailing, last minute Sarah, the Great. These skeptics stemmed from the story of the rancher in Roswell, New Mexico, who was said to have found a crash site within his land that held the remains of an extraterrestrial flying saucer. This incident is famously known as a human's first encounter with aliens. However, that may not be the case. Also, in Mussolini's fascist Italy, they found a UFO there during World War II. 6 years before the supposed Roswell UFO incident, William Huffman from the Red Star Baptist Church was called by the sheriff around 9:30 p.m. and taken to the scene of the accident so he could read the victims their last rites. All right. And right here, what we have right here is wrong window. Okay. Okay, right here. This is a depiction of the Greys, an illustration of what they were seeing. Man, this man's going to say the last rites, but he's in for a big surprise. An illustration of the UFO crash and three bodies said to be found in the field of Cape Gir Aduria in 1941. Yes, yes. You remember the one I covered, yeah. According to Michael Huntington, local travel writer and UFO researchers, Huffington found himself praying over three extraterrestrial beings after their flying saucer struck ground in rural Cape Gradu Field. No, it's Grado. That's how it's pronounced. I should know that because I'm down here. It's Grado. Grado. No, wait. Gerardo. Okay, I got it. The story of the UFO crash in Cape Girardeau has been long researched since the 80s. When Charlotte, Maine, former Cape Girardeau resident told the story about what her grandfather experienced 40 years prior. I know, right? I know, right, Bina? Yeah. The story of the UFO crash in Cape. I read that. Okay. Yeah. So, according to Huntington Huffman, it was taken to a field where a group of firemen, police officers, eventually the military, were taking over the scene. An illustration of an alien bodies said to be found in a field in Cape Girardeau. Okay, I got the middle part incorrect. It's Girardeau. Okay. An illustration alien bodies said to be found in a field at Cape Girardeau in 1941. Upon arrival, it was very different situation. It was not conventional aircraft as we know it. He described it as a saucer that was metallic in color. No seams, did not look like anything he had ever seen. It had been broken open in one portion. Also, he could walk up and see that man said in a TV documentary about the crash. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Sarah, if you want to call in, you can. It's okay. Just let me know. Upon the arrival, it was different situation, not conventional aircraft as we know it. He described it as a saucer that was metallic in color, no scams, did not look like anything he had ever seen. It had been broken into one proportion. He should walk into the sea the man TV documentary about the crash. The crash did not just feature the UFO though. Thank you, Sarah, for this information because this is all about aliens right now. All about aliens, and also the TV shows that we're talking about as well. Because that stuff is pretty cool too because it has to do with the sci-fi stuff. Quote, there were also some bodies, three gray alien type beings, about 5 feet tall, big heads, and big black eyes, Huntington said. There were said to be three aliens. Two were dead, but one seemed to still be alive. That is one of Huffington performed his duties on first. When Huffington was finished, he was sworn to secrecy by the military personnel who had taken over the area, according to UFO casebook files, with the United States, one on the verge of entering World War II. Everyone on the site sworn to secrecy as the concern for national security. Duke, I was wondering where you're at. I'm glad you're able to drop by. Hello, dude. Duck, duck, Duke. Scared. Not only were the eyewitnesses sworn to secrecy, but research leads to believe that the military also removed all evidence it ever happened. So that's another image of the crash. They can always cite national security and don't have to tell us anything. Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, now, regarding other languages, it's like I've studied other languages before, but like what Marie said, if you're not using them a lot, you'll forget things. I did all right with learning Spanish. I wasn't raised in bilingual. I did study some stuff about German a little bit, so I knew a little, like a fraction of it, a little bit. But basically, I could do anything I put my mind to. I'll succeed at it, even if it was hard for me. But I did all right with learning the other languages. But I would have to go back and refresh your memory about some things. But yeah, yeah. But basically, it's good to know other languages. I think it's important. Right now, the language I'm interested in is Japanese. That's what I'm looking into right now. Shout out to Sarah. Why would they think to call a preacher for the last rites? Aliens wouldn't practice human religion and customs. Stranded. Either what happened was they thought that the people at the crash site were humans, and or they wanted to say their last rites because all of the aliens didn't practice human religion. They wanted to maybe help them get to heaven. It was just an act of courtesy. Back then, people had these different sort of active values. Country folk are like that. Also, I think maybe more so in case was evil, and maybe they thought it was something evil and they want to try to bless it. Yes, and Duke, which I am, it's fine. I like the channel he mentioned. For all sorts of orb info, watch Ashton Forbies on YouTube. Interesting stuff. Thank you, Duke, for mentioning that channel. Thank you. It's always good to find more different resources on things. Sarah says reminds though of how the Pope accepts aliens as redeemable. Yeah, if the aliens the aliens that are fallen angels are they chose to reject God and they're just at a point where there is no return. They hypothetically could repent, but they don't. But aliens from outer space that are from another planet, I think that we would minister the gospel to all creation. So hypothetically, if there's aliens from an actual other planet that weren't in, but the thing is, though, a lot of these aliens are in cahoots with something evil. But let's just be hypothetical, and there is an alien from some other planet that was actually like us, but that were good people, and that well, not good people, but people that could be redeemed. As I said, I don't know. I think that God would either have a plan for them, or you could just preach it to them anyway. It wouldn't hurt, but I think the aliens are quite nefarious, and a lot of the ones we're seeing are bad. I think they're associated with the fallen beings. So, Sarah, I would take what the Pope would say with a grain of salt on that one. But hypothetically, all creation should know the gospel, but we shouldn't be trusting the aliens are quite suspicious. Marie said, Japanese is cool. I thought the grammar was rather easy, but context is very important. The kanji writing, though, is very difficult. It's what broke my neck. Yeah. My father's parents were from Poland, and I'm not sure what part of Germany my great grandparents are from. And that's right next door, so to speak. Sarah said, husband is German. I still ever learning kanji. Kids here start before elementary school. Hira, kata, kanji, romaji, and aka. Very smart people in Japan. They're brilliant. And the grandfather was from Austria and met the mother in the States. German is more hard in the humble opinion. I agree with you that yes, German can be quite difficult. And yeah, so okay, Sarah, understood. Yes, Germans are tough customers. That's true, and the Poles are as well. Yes. Now, yeah, my great grandfather, my so Richard Schmidt's grandfather, my great great grandfather, Wilhelm, he was from Bibra, Germany, and also something to do with Castle. His mother, last name Pfister, was from southern Germany, and my his wife, my grandma, has some Czechoslovakian ancestry, but it's a German name called Wetzel, but it has origins to Czechoslovakia, so it's a Czechoslovakian German name. And also, my dad's side is British, so the English people would have the Germanic blood. And also, I'm related to a certain family, perhaps that. Well, I'm related to a certain family that has some German ancestry on my dad's side. So, yeah, so my dad's side I have directly from Germany, and also some Anglo-Saxon blood that had German in it, and the Vikings as well. So I have quite a bit of Germanic ancestry. But of course, at the same time, I have also Mediterranean ancestry and from the Mediterranean countries. Very cool people too, and I think it's a very interesting thing to talk about. Yeah. So I'm all mixed up from Eastern Europe, the Mediterranean, and Northern and Central Europe. I can't forget I'm also related to the Celtic people, so Ireland and Scotland and Wales as well. And shout out to the Germans and all of the people of Earth and all the Europeans in the chat and all the Germanic people in the chat and all the Eastern European in the chat and anything else people are. Sor. That's a nice name, Duke. Awesome. Marie says, I'm half German, half American with roots in Norway, Ireland, Scotland, and I'm 1/16th Cherokee, too. Well, that's really cool, Marie. Awesome. Yeah, I think all Americans, including myself, may have some slight indigenous ancestry, but I'm not quite sure with myself. But yeah, quite a few have that us as well. Sour. Yes, that's true. Thank you. I don't know if I have indigenous ancestry or not, but quite a bit of Americans have that somewhere in there. Also like I'm related to the Vikings from the. I'm related to Norway too in Sweden. I'm related to them as well because the Vikings that came to the British Isles and the Norwegians and the Vikings, they're related to the indigenous people up there. That's why the eyes are kind of like some of their eyes are kind of like almond shaped. Like my eyes, for instance, I have high cheekbones and my eyes are kind of almond shaped, similar to the. I'm not saying I look Asian looking, but similar to a little bit more similar to the Asians because they have kind of almond shaped look to them. And basically, everybody going far back enough has different ancestries to them. And Shout out to all of you. This is a very cool conversation. Regarding this UFO crash that happened, the one thing the military did not get its hands on was the photograph, supposedly taken by the Southeast Missourian photographer at the time, Garland D. Fronbarger. The whereabouts of the photograph is currently unknown, said Huntington. However, there have been several remarks of it, as well as a drawing of man who said she saw the photograph firsthand before it went missing. The photograph featured two men holding up one of the dead aliens, taken by Furon Abarger. It was said that he made two copies of the photo, one for himself and one for Huffman. German, Polish, Italian, Russian, Irish, English. We had everyone. Yeah, and that's the great thing about this amazing country. All the people that came here to find a better life and make something of themselves. It's very cool. Duke says a fun fact. I lived in Germany for 5 years while in the Marine Corps in the early 80s. And as I said before, Duke, thank you for your service. That's very cool. After Huffington got home that night, he could not fathom what he had just experienced. Despite being sworn to secrecy, when he got home, he recounted his night to his wife, Floyd Huffman, and their two sons. After the Rev Huffman took his story to the grave, Floyd, however, told the man everything she needed to know about the crash while on her deathbed. Huntington said, there is not much of a paper trail to prove whether or not a UFO actually crashed in Cape Guy Rotterdam. And I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get this right. Go back to what Sarah said. Okay. All right, I get what she means. All right. Huntington is there not much of a paper trail to prove whether or not the UFO actually crashed in Cape G. Rardo. G. Rardo. According to UFO casebook files, the Red Star Baptist Church records Cobrit Huffman's employment during that time period. Also, fire department and police record show that an occurrence at the day of the crash and confirmed that the military came to remove all evidence from the scene. Oh, Duke, he did that with his salmon. Yeah, he made an excellent. That was an excellent, delicious meal. I'm glad you did that. I'm sure it was delicious. And shout out to him. Yeah, with ABL salmon. Yeah, that looked delicious. None of the records have been confirmed by the Arrow. Whether or not you choose to believe in UFO crash in Cape Guy Rardo, in 1941, Huntington said that the tale will forever be part of the area's history. You made it with chicken last night. Ooh, that's yummy. That's yummy. Yes, Tony, absolutely. I don't believe we're alone either. I think that there are aliens out there. Quote, when people hear that I am from Cape Guy Radio, They automatically asked me if the UFO crash. Huntington said, I'm really interested in the history aspects of it. All right. Here we go. No skin on your salmon. Yeah. Yeah, some people like the skin on it. Some people don't like the skin on it. Martians. Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. Tony says, I do salmon patties, but I don't eat it myself. I don't eat it by itself. Oh, well, yeah. No, I know. I know Marie. G. Rardo. Yes. I believe I said it like that. But it's like, you know, yeah, so I believe I said it right, but thank you, Marie, for the heads up. Thanks. All right, so that is the crash of Missouri that we just researched. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the gray alien conspiracy. And if we had the time, I will get into the pirates. I'll eat about anything that goes by slow. Shrimp has breaded and fried. Awesome. In 1888, Christophe Dechavanne interviewed the French science fiction writer and UFOologist Jimmy Guyot on TF1's. Besides mentioning Majestic 12, Guyot described an existence he called Little Greys, which later became better known in the French under the name Les Petites Gris. Guyot later wrote the docudramas using a plot. The Gray Aliens Majestic 12 conspiracy theory as described by John Lair and Milton William Copper, the series EBE Extraterrestrial Biological Entity. It's okay, Marie. It's okay. It's nice to have a little of a smarty pants. We need to have smart asses. We can't have dumb asses. The spaceship would go down. The smart ass is needed because I needed a reminder about how to say it again. I would have to summon the monsters like Ben 10. So shout out to you, Marie. Thank you. It's all good. I shallow fry, not deep fry, except French fries. Fly guy. Wi-Fi. There you go. Greys have since become the subject of many conspiracy theories. Many conspiracy theorists believe that the Greys represent part of the government led disinformation or plausible deniability campaign, or that they are product of government mind control experiments during the 1990s. Popular culture also began to increasingly link Greys to a number of military industrial complex and New World Order conspiracy theories. Where I am, the seafood is the big thing where I am. See, there's crawfish, there's all kinds of things going on down here. Yeah, definitely. Down here, that's what we have. In 1995, filmmaker Ray Santelli claimed to have obtained 22 reels of 16mm film that depicted the autopsy of real Gray supposedly recovered from the site of the 1947 incident in Roswell. In 2006, though, Santelli announced that the film was not original but was instead reconstruction created after the original film was found to have degraded. He maintained that a real Gray had been found and autopsied on camera in 1947, and that the footage released to the public contained percentage of the original footage. Well, you left the kitchen. Yeah, down here they call them crawfish, but other places they call them mud bugs. I love them mud bugs. Over and somewhere else they call them crawdads. Yes, Tony. I also had fish every Friday because of that as well. My family's Catholic, so I had the fish on Friday as well. In close encounter claims in ufology, Greys are often involved in alien abductions claims. Among reports of alien encounters, Greys make up about 50% in Australia, 73% of the United States, 48% in continental Europe, and around 12% in the United Kingdom. These reports include two distinctive groups of Greys that differ in height. Abductions claims are described as extremely traumatic, similar to abduction by humans or even a sexual assault. In the levels of trauma and distress, the emotional impact perceived abductions can be as great as the combat, sexual abuse, and other traumatic events. That's funny, Tony. I like fish a lot, so I was very happy to have some fish. And also, as an interesting observance, Marie said, "So mud bugs are a real thing. I thought you were kidding." And Strand said, "I think some of the pics and videos that are obvious fakes or on purpose. Plausible deniability." Yes, Stranded. I do agree with that. I do agree with that, and I think that basically, okay, in this situation, that they want to do that to try to get people to not believe in the aliens and stuff like that. The eyes are often a focus of abduction claims, which often describe the Greys staring into eyes of the abductees when conducting mental procedures, and starting this claim to introduce hallucinogenic state or directly provoke different emotions. Yeah, and Duke, I went to a Catholic kindergarten, but then I didn't fail a kindergarten, but I went to another school that had a better kindergarten, more suited for me. And also, I'm not denying that. I'm just, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that about the school. Psychocultural expression, intelligence. Neurologist Stephen Novella proposes that the gray aliens are a byproduct of human imagination, with Gray's most distinctive features representing everything that modern humans traditionally link with intelligence. The aliens, however, do not just appear as humans, they appear like humans with those traits of physiology associated with intelligence. That's true, Duke. Absolutely. Yeah, Marie, that's why the channel is called It's Eclectic. That's why it's eclectic. I'm still here. That's why in the channel I put eclectic, because we talk about a variety of different things. And I don't mind, no matter what anybody says, I don't mind the side conversations because it has to do with this topic indirectly because we talk about other things too. So I don't mind that. And people like to talk about these type of topics like food and stuff. And I think it's all right. And we're still talking about the aliens at the same time. There's no problem. I didn't get in trouble with anything, Marie. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Marie's a friend in the chat, yes. Tony says, I'm surrounded by old Catholic churches which are no longer in use.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah. And I do think that, in my opinion, it's best to have, personal relationship with God, and that church is important, but it's good to have that without the authorities of a church or without, these different religious authorities, but going to God yourself, I think, is the most important.
It's good to have structure also.
A structure is good too, and a structure is legitimate as well. I'm saying it's not like the main thing you have to have. Marie, that's my mom came in for a second, and she was whispering something because it's like because she was saying I'm a Christian and I dabble into different Christian denominations, but I have a lot of Catholic traditions I kept, but I don't necessarily always acknowledge the authorities of the different religious authorities because a human could fall into error. But as I said, I have a lot of Catholic traditions, but also very Protestant traditions too. So I don't really fit into a box. But I was baptized Catholic, so my family sees me as a Catholic. But I have a lot of Catholic traditions more than I did in my past. I always was a Christian though, but I brought a lot of that stuff back. So I acknowledge the Catholic Church is legitimate in my opinion and all. But as I said, I believe having a personal relationship with God is the most important thing. And Marie says, I know, Hans, I just thought our talk of food and heritage might bring you out of context. Marie, it's okay. It's important. I always talk about heritage. I was obsessed with that. I talk about food on the channel too. I talk about that all the time. So it's not off topic. We're just having many different conversations at once. Oh, you're Jewish in belief. That's cool. Yes, Tony. Yes, Tony. And Marie and Tony, the Jewish tradition, very interesting stuff. Yes. Also, some other hypothesis about the aliens. In 2005, Frederick Baumstorm, writing in Skeptic magazine, volume 11, issue a presents his idea that grays are actually residual memories of early childhood development, which is something kind of interesting, kind of silly. Milestorm reconstructs the fact that the gray, though information of the mother's face based on our best understanding in early childhood sensation and perception. Milestorm's study offer another alternative to the existence of grays and the intense instinctive response many people experience when presented an image of a gray, an act in the regression of hypnosis and recovered memory therapy and recovering memories of alien abductions express among along with their other common themes. They don't have the synagogues either. Yeah, I don't know. I think that religion is very important for people to have. Delight said, my parents were, I may be pronouncing it wrong, Sephardic, but we never practiced any ancient religions or superstitions. All right, Delight, understood. And that's very cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I think that Jewish people are very cool and very brilliant people. And a lot of times I feel, unfortunately, they're, used as a scapegoat for things. But yeah, very brilliant people. And I think, that's where Christianity originates from, is Judaism. And I think that very important faith. And along with all the other faiths that are there too, I'm not against the other religions either. But I think that, very important that people have their religion or not believe in religion. The spaceship is a very diverse group of people. Other hypothesis, the interdimensional hypothesis, which is the one that I go by the most. The crypto terrestrial hypothesis and the time travel hypothesis attempt to provide an alternative explanation to the humanoid autonomy and behavior of these alleged beings. The interdimensional hypothesis is that these aliens are from some other dimension coming into our dimension. And also, the crypto terrestrial hypothesis proposes the reports of flying saucers or UFOs are evidence of a hidden Earth based technology, advanced civilization. So they believe that the UFOs are from somewhere in the Earth. The time traveler hypothesis, also known as the Chor Choranaut future humans, is the proposal that the unidentified flying objects are humans traveling from the future using advanced technology. And again, these are some depictions of the Greys right there. Well, that's good you have a Jewish cemetery. That's good. And that's cool you have a rabbi friend, Duke. Awesome. During the 1990s, plot lines were almost done with the Greys, and we'll get into the other thing. During the 1990s, plot lines. Yes, Stranded. I think it would make a great poster. I think it would make a great poster, absolutely. Definitely. During the 1990s, plot lines wherein the Greys were linked to conspiracy theories became common. A well known example is the Fox television series The X Files, which first aired in 1993. It combined the quest to find proof of the existence of gray extraterrestrials with number of UFO conspiracy theories, subplots to form its primary school arc. Other notable examples include the XCOM video game franchise, where they are called sectoids in the first broadcast in 1996, which expanded upon the MJ-12 conspiracy. And American Dad, which features a gray-like alien named Roger, whose backstory draws from both the Roswell incident and the Area 51 conspiracy theories. The 2011 poll tells the story of Gray named Paul, who attributes the Gray's frequent presence in science and fiction pop culture to the U.S. government deliberately inserting the stereotypical gray alien image into mainstream media. This is done so that humanity came into contact with Paul's species. No immediate shock would occur to their appearance. Child abductions by Greys is key point in the film The Dark Skies. The Asgrads were cool people. They helped get rid of Golod to free the Jaffa. That's really cool. All right, that's it for the alien part. Also, and Tony, I went to a Jewish summer camp and I liked it a lot. It was very cool there. And I was treated very well, like I was, treated on YouTube in different places. Now, I had some religious differences with them sometimes because of with Jesus specifically, but I learned how to swim there and play sports, and I learned a lot of stuff from them. And I knew soldiers from Israel because they were the ones. There's a class we had to learn about the history of Israel, and also basically I knew soldiers from Israel, some of the camp counselors from Israel, so I knew some of those people, and I was very cool. So I'm glad that got to experience that. But I've never been to Israel, but it would be a nice place to visit. When there's not a situation like what's going on in Gaza right now. Right. I'm not against the Arabs either. I'm not against the Arabs or the Muslims that are there, like in the Middle East. But I like, I'm not against either of them. X Files and Stargate franchises are my thing. I like those two. Stranded, absolutely, yes. Oh, that's very cool, Duke. That's very cool. Yes, Tony. Radical Islam is a concerning thing, and many regular Muslims are also against it. But it is a concerning thing. Any type of extremism is bad, and I do agree about radical Islam. Yes. Yes, thankfully, it's a small percentage of those that are crazy. Yes, I agree. Yes. It is concerning, though. Even in Muslim countries, they attack each other. Like, if you don't confirm with their type of Islam, they'll go and attack you. So they're also attacked by their own people. That's really cool, Duke. That's awesome. All right. I have to do this really quick. You have. Since we're talking about food, and we talk about food on this channel, here is some information about some real quick. We'll do this. These are some salmon dishes with avocados, and it's very good with tomatoes. ABL did this; it was delicious. And yeah, so that is just we're talking about the food earlier. So that is some ideas of some cool dishes. Yeah, so shout out to that, and we'll do it with tomatoes. And that is the dish with tomatoes. Very delicious. I highly recommend this. But also, Tony, you don't like salmon, so you know what you could use instead? You could also use chicken. Chicken is a substitute for salmon. You could also use chicken. I love avocados. All right, I love avocados. But yeah, you have chicken. Chicken can be used as a substitute for salmon. So those are some ideas of some cool dishes. Okay. We'll go back to Skinny Bob for a second. Look at this dude. I love Indian food also. I like Indian food and Arab food as well. Definitely. I want to give a shout out though to an incident that happened at Law and Crime where there is Rebecca Willis and she was having a seizure and she felt comfortable with the Chat family because at Law and Crime because she had no one else around to help her. And 49ers Mama called, and Joyce had something to do with this too, called 911 and on her behalf, and they're able to save her from having the seizure, and Rebecca Willis is recovering. There is a troll in the chat at Law and Crime that was trying to say that she was making it up, and they mocked her and made their name her name, and it was just so horrid what was going on. I really was disgusted because it's like somebody's having a medical emergency, they're not making it up. It's like, come on. So I'm glad that. So shout out to them. You love avocado, but it's only as a dip. Got to mix it with other stuff. Understood. I'm scared. That's an animation of Skinny Bob, right there. The last segment of the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about piracy. Now, I'll ask you, chat, I'll ask you this question. If you don't like avocados, what do you like instead? What other type of. What other type do you like? What type of fruit do you like? Or like in a dip, if it's not avocado? I'm curious to know. Put it in the chat. All right, so we're going to talk about pirates briefly as we end the show. In modern sea piracy, small, fast boats are often used to approach broad, larger, slower moving ships to steal cargo or take the ship and crew hostage. While it is widespread and tactically accepted in some circles, piracy can lead to civil liability and criminal penalty in federal law. Stranded said she likes spinach artichoke dip. That's delicious. That's delicious. That's what she's talking about. Delicious. Delicious. By the way, everybody, I'm growing an avocado tree right now, and it's growing very well. It's going good. So I do have an avocado tree growing. Because you could take the avocado and put it in some water with some toothpicks. I learned this in school, and it grows. One I had died from the cold, so now what I have to do, I'm just making a new one now. And pine nuts. Yeah, those are very good as well. Yeah, shout out to the pine nuts. It looks like a little monster to you. And Marie says, the dip, sour cream and onions, vegetables, carrots, bell peppers, anything. But avocados and eggplants. Ew. Fruit, there's hardly a type fruit I don't like. I can't eat bananas. They upset my stomach. That upsets Remy's stomach too, another friend of ours. Okay, thank you for letting me know, Marie. Thank you for the great suggestions. Really, thank you for participating in this survey I'm doing. Thank you. All right, so piracy is still going on today, and why is that? And as I said, it's okay if the chat deviates a little bit from the topic. It's fine. There are, however, factors that make piracy flourish in certain parts of the world. Poor condition coastal areas with few economic opportunities, low literacy rates, weak governments, and the rule of law, as well as easy access to weapons, proximity, and to business shipping lanes, giving rise to more piracy activity than other areas. All right, the golden age of piracy. We'll talk about this a little briefly as we end the show. The golden age of piracy is commonly a common designation for the period between 1650 and 1730s, when maritime piracy was a significant factor in the histories of the North Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Histories of piracy often subdivided the golden age of piracy into three parts. The buccaneering period, approximately the 1650 to 1680, characterized by Anglo-French seamen based in Jamaica and Tortuga, attacking Spanish colonies and shipping the Caribbean Eastern Pacific. Marie says, but I got to go now. I'd like to make myself a sandwich before Creature Feature starts. See you and the other guys. Much love to all of you. Had so much fun. I'll see you in a little bit over there, Marie. Thank you for coming to the stream. And also, Stranded said mangoes and watermelons with tangerine sprinkled on it is so delish. That is delish. Definitely. Pacific. The pirate round 1690s associated with long distance voyages from the Americas to rob East India Company targets in the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea. The post-Spanish succession period 1715 to 1726, when English sailors and privateers left unemployed by the end of the war, the Spanish succession turned en masse to piracy in the Caribbean and the Indian Ocean, and North America, Eastern and seaboard, and the West African coast. Narrower definitions of the Golden Age sometimes exclude the first or second periods, but most include at least some portion of the third. Modern conception of pirates, all as depicted in popular culture, is derived largely, although not always accurately, from the Golden Age of piracy. Tajin is a Mexican spice. It has slight citrus flavor with a little kick. Most stores sell it usually in the fresh product area. Well, thank you, Stranded, for telling me about that. Tahine. Okay, thanks. And also, Tony says, Stranded, okay, I'll look for it. I usually sprinkle a little flaked salt or on watermelon. Okay, well, that's very cool that you're going to try that. Factors contributing to piracy during the Golden Age included the rise in quantities of valuable cargoes being shipped to Europe over the vast ocean areas, reduced European navies in certain regions, the training and experience that many sailors had gained in European natives, particularly the British Royal Navy, and corrupt and ineffective government in the European overseas colonies. And the colonial powers at the time consistently fought with pirates and engaged in several notable battles and other related events. Yeah, salt and watermelon does sound very good. Yeah, I've not tried that yet, but I will. Origin: the oldest known literally mention of a golden age of piracy from 1894, when the English journalist George Powell wrote about what appears to have been the golden age of piracy up to the last decade, the 17th century. Powell uses the phrases while reviewing Charles Liese, A New and Exact History of Jamaica. And at 150 years old, Powell uses the phrase only once. Now, Tony in chat, what is your favorite veggie? If you haven't already answered it, I'm just curious. In 1887, in 1897, a more systematic use of the phrase golden age of piracy was introduced by the historian John Fiske, who wrote, at no other time in the world's history has the business of piracy thriven so greatly as the 17th century and the first part of the 18th. Its golden age may be said to have extended from about 1650 to about 1720. Fiske included the activities of Barbary corsairs and East Asian pirates of the Golden Age, noting that as the Muslim pirates of those of Eastern Asia were as busily at work as the 17th century as at any other time, their case does not impair my statement that the age of buccaneers was the golden age of piracy. And a little dash of fresh green beans. Very good. Tony says, I make cakes, pies, and cookies. I'm sure it's delicious. You and Stranded, the spaceship kitchen. Tony says, for me, celery, carrots, and broccoli. Strand said, I'm on a broccoli kick at the moment. Spinach, green beans, corn, carrots, and potatoes. That is delicious, Stranded. Thank you for answering. Thank you. Pirates of the first half of the 20th century occasionally adopted Fiske's term Golden Age without necessarily following his beginning and ending dates for it. The most expansive definition of the age of piracy was the Patrick Pillage, who wrote in 1951 that the most flourishing era of the history of piracy began in the region of Queen Elizabeth I and ended the second decade of the 18th century. This idea starkly contracted Fiske, who had hostily denied that such Elizabethan figures as Drake were pirates. You do need a raise. You need a raise and a bonus and some extra. I'm scared. Yeah, shout out to the polls. Yes, an inside joke between her and I. Yes. Yes. And Tony says, stranded with grocery prices. I hear you. Yeah. And yeah, Polish, shout out to the Poles and shout out to the potatoes. And also, Ireland. In Ireland, there was this potato famine that happened. And also, so I'm related to people from a potato famine that went to England. And also, I'm related to people that were in Germany. Wilhelm was having a problem with a potato famine in Germany. So yeah, I come from the shout out to the potatoes. Yeah, I like them too. Trend toward the narrow definitions. Of recent definitions that given by privilege appears to have the widest range of exceptions to an overall trend among historians from 1909 until 1990s towards the golden age. Piracy arose out of and mirrored on a smaller scale conflicts over trade and colonization among the rival European powers of the time, including the empires of Britain, Spain, Netherlands, and Portugal, and France. Most pirates in this era were Welsh, English, Dutch, Irish, French in origin. Many pirates came from poorer urban areas in search of a way to make money, and reprieve London in particular was known for high unemployment, crowding, and poverty, which drove people to piracy. Piracy also offered power and quick riches. The German grandmother was a stupendous cook and baker. I'm sure she was. I have my great grandmother's rolling pin, and she brought it over from Germany as a young girl. Wow, that is so cool. That is so cool. They made all their own eggs and noodles too. That's delicious. You learn something new every day. I mean, it's so good to learn these different things from people. My mom made a pineapple upside down cake that was in a newspaper, and my family, my Italian relatives, very good at cooking. And allegedly, there's a recipe that one of my ancestors had that Chef Boyardee stole. That's in the Chef Boyardee food now. So, so I have some cooking in my line too. Strained said, I just watched a video of some pirates in a speedboat going after a cargo ship. Needless to say, the speedboat lost and went boom. Oh, you make that too, Tony. That's delicious. I'm glad to hear that. And Stranded. So basically, yeah. So the modern day pirates, they have these tiny little boats, and they go and they hijack the ships, and they go on there, and yeah, this and they try to take over the ship for cargo.
Oh my god, I forgot his blanket.
You forgot his blanket. Sheree, we're gonna be ending it in a few moments. But thank you, Sheree, for
Doing a late night one?
for coming.
Aren't you doing a late night one?
I don't know if I'm doing the late night one. I might do one tomorrow
Oh, okay.
after Creature Feature at some point. And Tony, tomorrow night I might do a late night stream after Creature Feature. By the way, right. And also, by the way, I'll read you this excerpt. The Buccaneers' migration from Hispaniola to the mainland, more definable offshore island to Tortuga. So Tortuga is a real island. The French Buccaneers established themselves in northern Hispaniola as early as 1625. They were hunters, they hunted pigs and cattle and robbers, and full-time piracy was gradual as part of the Spanish efforts to wipe out both the buccaneers and the prey of animals. So in Tortuga is a real island that was talked about in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The growth of the buccaneers on Tortuga was agreed in the English capture of Jamaica in Spain of 1655. All right, so we'll show you this. Stranded. It's a late night stream. I'm not really Stranded. I'm not really too sure, but it will be a very late night stream, and I will let you know what time it'll be before it happens. So you'll have like a heads up, like sometime before. It might be around. It might be a little bit after the time of the regular late night streams. It might be around midnight my time, or a little after midnight, something like that. But I'll give you more information later. I just don't quite remember when they end and what I'll be doing, but it'll be around midnight or something like that. All right, this is Modern Pirates. All right, this is the Modern Pirates. These are little dinghy boats that she was talking about. All right, these are the dinghy boats. And that they go attack people in, the modern day pirates. They got a distant look in their eyes of the sea. And that's them, yeah, thieves and liars. I agree. Yeah, so that's them going on the boat, on the ship, off their boat. And this is my favorite picture. Because I love the way that scenery looks, because it looks like Pirates of the Caribbean or something of that time period. And I really think that it has like that ship that's brought up to shore, and also that distant look in his eyes, kind of like the ocean. It's pretty cool. But he's also, as I said, he's a pirate doing piracy things. But yeah, that's the modern day ones. Sharon said, "Tony, I just got frozen Miss T's. I boiled them, then pan fry them in butter garlic. I've been using them for years. They're very good." Yeah, shout out to Misty. Yeah, that's another boat they use, a little tiny boat. But really, they use these little dingy things. Pirates overcame their opponents with rapier, daggers, and pistols and muskets. Modern pirates, in contrast, mainly operate in organized gangs. Hello, Devin. Good to see you. Welcome. Oh, we're about to end it soon in a moment.
You can only go and stay longer if you want a longer.
Okay. Because I do have to do the dinner and stuff. But yeah, so hey, Devin. She says Led Zeppelin would be proud of this communication breakdown. Yeah, absolutely. So with the modern pirates, we have this. Shout out to Devin, my pal. I appreciate you. I'm glad that you're here. Yeah, so the modern pirates, the reasons. Their primary aim is to steal oil cargo with limited interests in holding crew members or non-oil vessels and cargo for ransom. Notably, pirates in this region are famous for their violent methods, which often invoke kidnapping, torture, and shooting crew members. Scared. Modern pirates can be connected to international rebel, criminal, and terrorist organizations due to the modern communication with transportation, allowing these groups to operate internationally. Or modern pirates. Piracy in the 21st century, commonly known as modern piracy, has taken place in a number of waters around the globe, including but not limited to the Gulf of Guiana, Gulf of Aden, Arabian Sea, Strait of Malacca, Sulu of Celebes Seas, Indian Ocean Bay of Bengal, and the Falcon Lake. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Stranded. Thank you. All right. Modern pirates are located scared. The areas of piracy: the Gulf of the Indian Ocean, the Red Sea, the Singapore Straits. So the Singapore Strait, Singapore is that was in Pirates of the Caribbean. So again, they still had piracy all to this time period, all these years later. Sula Celeb Seas, the Strait of Malacca, the Bay of Bengal, the Falcon Lake, the Caribbean. The Caribbean still has it. Coast of the Gulf of Mexico, a hotspot for piracy activity. The coast of, by some would say, the Gulf of America, a hotspot for piracy.
The Gulf of America. That is so funny.
Yeah. Okay, so they still have piracy in the Caribbean a little bit. Wow. Okay, Tony, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. I went a little extra for Bell that came through, and I'll be over there, Tony, over at Creature Feature. I will. Okay.
I want to go to Creature Feature.
It's a funny show. I mean, it's not like a funny show, but it's a good show. Okay. Caribbean, due to the crisis in Venezuela, issues of piracy returned to the Caribbean in the 2010s. You know, these third world countries with their ideologies and stuff, it's like it's not, helpful. It only caused people more problems. So in 2010, the piracy increased activity. And the Somali pirates, that's nice, wearing the pirate hat. It looked good. All right, so that's some Pirates of the Caribbean right there. The ones today, and look at that. That's a scene. Pirates responsible for Spike and kidnappings and stolen goods, and that it looks just like the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and that's in the Caribbean. That's so cool. I mean, I know it's a bad thing, but it's cool at the same time. And we are the pirates of YouTube.
Facts.
Yeah. And then you got that one, that ship that kind of like went on shore like that. And you see, they'll do this. They'll have water and sonar, these different sounds to try to deter them from going onto the ship. And also, you can use a sound thing. Like, there's an app my friend had where you have like this thing where you you hear this sound and it causes you to cringe real hard, and that's what they put on their ships. All right, modern pirates. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the pirates of Somalia. Then we'll end the stream. Piracy off the coast of Somalia occurs in the Gulf of Aden, Gardafuel I Channel, and the Somali Sea, in the Somali territorial waters, and the other surrounding places, and has a long troubled history with the different perspectives from the different communities in which initially threatened the international fishing vessels during the early 2000s only rapidly escalate and to expand international shipping during the War of Somalia 2006-2009. The Somali pirates are allied with Al Qaeda and Al Shabaab. All right. The Somali waters have high fisheries production and potential, but the suitability of those fisheries is commissioned by the presence of foreign fishing vessels, many of them fishing illegally in Somalia. Domestic fishing sector is small and poorly developed, whereas The foreign vessels have fished in Somali waters for at least 7 decades. Some foreign vessels and their crew have been viewed by Somali arsenal fishers and threat to the national livelihoods of many foreign vessels directly complete for fishing, reducing fish populations and destroying the marine habitat at the bottom of the throttling of foreign fishing more than 20-fold since 1981, and most rapid increase occurred during the 1990s after the collapse of the federal government under the Said Barre and the ensuing civil war. All right, and something else, Devin, to update what was going on. We were researching about a crash happened in Philly, a small passenger jet crash, and it looked like a missile was dropped somewhere. And also, they're talking about the DC and the crash with the helicopter. We talked about a case involving the DNA of somebody that committed some lost some information and did some fraud stuff with DNA, and talk about the aliens in this. So that's what we were doing. All right, one more little part, and then we'll end the stream. Somalia was designated as a failed state in 1992 with the extensive international conflicts and major instability continuing until 2012 when the federal government of Somalia was established, which, despite the intervention and support of foreign forces, could not fully establish its authority with a threat of jihadist group Shabab. So Somalia remained characterized as a fragile state. This disorder meant there was no longer effective government policing Somalia waters by the Somali Navy, a weakness then exploited by the often foreign fishing boats, further threatening the livelihoods of local Somali fishing communities. All right, Dev. All right, Bina. I'll look at it. And also, yeah. So fishing communities, they in part responded by forming the armed groups that deterred their previous as invaders. These groups, using small boats such as skiffs and motorized boats, would sometimes hold vessels and crew for ransom. This practice grew into a lucrative trade where large ransom payments were often paid. With the region badly affected by poverty and government corruption, there was little political motivation at the local level to deal with the crisis. Large numbers of unemployed Somali youth beginning to see it as means of making money. That's some information about the pirates. All right. All right, and Bina, I'm gonna go look at what you said, and I will let you know what I think. All right, so I'll definitely go look at it. And also, everybody, we've reached the end of the show, and also I thank all of you for coming and this little extension of it. And my bow, I'm glad that you came to this to be able to catch this and little part. And also Stranded and Mods, thank you for everything that you do. And let's see something else. Did something else come through? All right, so that's all we have for now. And peace. All right, my computer has a feature where you do a certain hand signal thing. It has a screen capture and it has balloons that pop up. So that's something my computer is able to do. All right. So, all right, everybody, take care. Okay. And shout out to the cat going to the cat box. Okay.